In this video, I'm going to show you how to multiply polynomials together. And I'm actually going to show you two methods for each type of problem. And they are called claw method or FOIL method. And I'll show you why I call it the claw. Just visually, it kind of looks like it. But FOIL, you might hear other people call it this. My claw method is the same as the FOIL method. And I want to write down for you what FOIL actually stands for. FOIL. Now this only works if you have a 2 by 2 that you're multiplying. So see here, 2 terms times 2 terms, a binomial times a binomial. But the claw method I feel like works as a better phrase for any size polynomial times any size polynomial. So if there's 2 terms times 2 terms or a binomial times a binomial, the FOIL stands for the first terms. That's going to be first, and then the outer terms, and then the inner terms, and then the last terms. And I'll show you visually what that would look like here first. So this binomial, if we write it out, we have 4x minus 3 times x plus 5. If we do our first terms multiplied together, it would be the first term here times the first term here, or 4x times an x. And that is going to get you 4x squared. And then our outer terms are going to be the outside terms, so outside, which would be 4x times 5. So you're actually multiplying those together, so multiplying today. 4x times 5 would be 20x. And then the inner terms, the inside terms here, if we multiply them together, it would be a negative 3 times x, or minus 3x. And then the last terms, the last one in this times the last one in this set of parentheses, would be negative 3 times 5, which is going to get you minus 15. And now what you'll see is on almost every time that you multiply, you'll have a couple terms that you can combine together. And normally it's some terms on the inside. Not always, but you'll see that happen quite often. And so the phrase that we'll get when we multiply the polynomial will be 4x squared plus 17x, because 20 minus 3 is 17, and then minus 15. And this is the polynomial you get when you multiply those two polynomials together. So first, outer, inner, last. Now if you see here, now that you have more terms than just 2, there's more than FOIL, because you're going to take your first, then your second, and then your third. So this term times all of those, and then the second term times all of those. So the phrase FOIL doesn't necessarily work for everything. And that's also why I call it the claw, because it's kind of like, you know, this first term is like reaching all of those and multiplying. And the second term, you know, that claw is reaching and multiplying all of those terms as well. So the first term times all the terms of the second term times all the terms in the second. Or then when you have a triple times a triple, first term times all the terms of the second, middle term times all the terms of the second, and then last term times all the terms of the second. So everything gets multiplied together. And then box method, I'll show you that over here. I utilize some of my space just because I tend to write a little too big, but this would be what your box method looks like. And so what you're going to do is write your first polynomial going horizontally, and I notice I have 2 terms here, and then my other polynomial I'm going to write on the side, x and a positive 5. And then what we're going to do is multiply x times 4x, or 4x squared, x times negative 3, or negative 3x, 4x times 5 is 20x, and negative 3 times 5 is negative 17. And then you'll see your diagonals match, and so we're going to add those diagonals together because they're alike terms. And then our 4x squared expression, notice how all 4 of those terms are the same as what we got with the claw method. So either way, you get the same answer. And then together, 20 minus 3, if I combine those terms, I get 17x. And then, I don't know why I wrote 17, probably because I was thinking of adding. 5 times 3 is 15, so minus 15 here. And then I'll just kind of show you a couple more examples here. So now that we have a binomial times a trinomial, meaning 2 terms times 3 terms, this is what your claw method is going to look like. So x plus 5. I'm going to try to write a little smaller this time so I can fit it in my box. So my first term, x, is going to get multiplied by x squared. X times x squared, we're multiplying here, will be x cubed. Let's see if I can use some different colors. X times negative 7x, we're multiplying. So negative 7 times 1 gets us negative 7. X times x gets us x squared. X times 10, 10 times x, so 10x. And now again, maybe I'll use pencil this time. 5 times x squared, we're multiplying 5 times x squared, and then 5 times negative 7x, 5 and 7 multiply to make 35, that's a negative because that negative sign, and we had an x there. And then last, 5 times 10 is 50. And now if you notice any terms that are alike, we're going to want to add those together. And this is a trick that I use, and I don't know if it's helpful for you. If I see a cube, I underline it 3 times, and then I look for anything else that was underlined 3 times. You know, or you could use circles for something that match, and then boxes for something else that matches. However you can identify your terms, or maybe underline it twice because it's a square, and this is underlined twice because it's a square. So combine any terms that are alike. So x cubed, I only have one of those. Negative 7x squared plus 5x squared is going to get me negative 2x squared. So then I use those. 10x minus 35x, I'm going to combine those together to make negative 25x. And I have only one numbered term, so plus 50. And this would be your answer for the multiplication of a binomial times this trinomial. And then the box method. Again, we have 2 terms for my first expression there. But we have, for the second one, 3 terms. We have an x squared, so I'm going to go then vertically here. A negative 7x is my next term, and then 10. So I want a 2 by 3, because this is a 2 by 3 box. And then again, you're just multiplying x squared times x, or x cubed. Notice we're going to get the same things. X times negative 7x is negative 7x squared, so notice that's the same. X times 10 is 10x. So notice those first 3 terms are the same. And then my 5 times those 3. 5 times x squared, 5 times negative 7x, and 5 times 10. And notice we added these together because they were alike. Those were our linear terms. And then we added these together, so add those diagonals that have like terms. And now we're going to actually finish our expression by putting things together. Negative 7 and 5, we already said was negative 2x. 10 minus 35 is negative 25. That was a square term there. X, this one has 1x, and then our 50. And again, notice how our answers are the same. No matter which method you pick to multiply, utilize what works for you. Now I'm going to challenge you. Maybe pause the video because I've done 4 of them. Well, actually, you know, one problem twice and another problem twice. See if you can multiply a triple times a triple, and then we are gonna I'd say hit play, and then we'll see if you got your answer right. All right, so here's my first polynomial, x squared minus 4x plus 7, and then my triple here, 3x squared plus 5x minus 2. Now just for space, I'm going to not utilize so many colors. I don't know that I have that many different colors, but x squared, actually, you know what I'll do? I'll just do 3. I'll do the first term times all 3 of those, and I'll write those in this color. X squared times 3x squared is going to be 3x to the 4th. So when you're multiplying, you add the powers together, in case you forgot that from our chapter 7. And then x squared times 5x. X squared times 5x would be 5, because 5 times 1. X squared times 1 more x is a total of 3 x's. and then x squared times negative 2. So 2 times 1 is that 2. X squared is the only letter we had. And then negative 4x times this guy here is going to get us, I'm just going to write it underneath because I don't have room to keep going, negative 4x. Now 1x and 2 here means a total of 3. Now negative 4 times 5. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. 1x here, so total of 2. And then one more. Negative 4x times negative 2 is going to make a positive because negative times a negative. And 4 times 2 is going to get me 8. And I had one letter x, and I'm not multiplying anymore. And then the last term. 7 times 3 is 21x squared. 7 times 5 is 35x. 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. And then, again, you want to look for terms that you can combine. Those are alike. Here's all my squares. And then here are all my linear terms. So add or combine like terms. So 1x to the 4th term, so that just goes in my answer. 5 cubes minus 4 is going to be 1x cubed. And then we have negative 2 minus 20 and plus 21 is going to get me a total of, let's see here, 21 minus 20 is 1. 1 minus 2 is negative x squared. And then 35 plus 8 is going to be 43x, and then minus 14. I just want to double check here my math. I feel like I made a mistake. Oh, I noticed it right here. You might have noticed it before I did. This first term, 4 times 3, shouldn't have been 4. It should have been 12. So I'm going to fix that real quick. And that means my cube term is going to be slightly different. Maybe you caught that before I did. 5 minus 12 is minus 7x cubed. And I think I'm confident about the rest. And I'll show you your box method now. So a cube, or a triple here, x squared, I should say trinomial, not cube. And then plus 7, so 3 terms. 1, 2, 3 columns. And then 3x squared, and a 5x, and a negative 2. So 3 by 3 means a box with 9 in it. 3x squared times x squared is 3x to the power of 4. You're adding your powers. And then x squared times 5x is 5x cubed. So notice that term here matches. X squared times negative 2 is negative 2x squared, and that's this term here. Then we did our middle term times all 3. So negative, here's where I made that mistake. Negative 12x, here's 1, here's 2 more, so total of 3. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20x squared, so same as what we had here. Negative 4 times negative 2 was 8 positive x. And then last here, the 7 here, our last term that we did in blue, 21x squared here, and 35x here, and negative 14. Just kind of double checking my terms, I notice we did find that mistake. And then again, we combined the diagonals that had like terms. I should say combine here. So again, 3x to the 4th, that term didn't have anything to combine. Negative 12 and 5 made negative 7x cubed. 21 minus 20 is 1, and 1 minus 2 is negative 1x squared. 35 and 8 made 43 for our linear term, x, and then minus 14.